Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Felicia from SweetGeorgia, and this is Taking Back Friday Live. This is a live stream that we do every month, the second Friday of every month at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we just come here from SweetGeorgia and the School of SweetGeorgia to share with you things that have been going on behind the scenes, what's been up, what's been happening. Lots has been happening, actually. So it's great to see everybody in the chat here. I see Judy, I see Vicky, I see Lovana. Thank you guys so much for being here today. So very, very excited to get started. I have a lot of announcements today. I have a lot of things I want to share. There's a lot of samples on my desk actually that I want to share with you. But the very first thing that I do want to share with you is that you guys know we are located in Vancouver. We have a hand dyeing studio here. We have sort of like a whole massive space here where we do a ton of things. So we have a production dye studio in the back where we're making hand dyed yarn every single day, literally every single day. And then in the front of our space, we also have sort of like a retail location. So that way, if you are local and in Vancouver, you are absolutely more than welcome to come and shop during our office hours, which is when we're all here. So that's 10 a.m. to 5 a.m., 5 p.m., not 5 a.m., 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays. And then outside of those hours, we have also been offering other things, including classes. So we do knit nights on Thursday nights a couple times a month, but we also do spinning classes in-house in our studio space in that sort of front shop area. And so those spinning classes are hosted by Katrina Stewart from Crafty Jacks. So we have a number of sessions that are happening. They happen on Tuesday evenings. June 13th until July 11th, we have a session going on. So if it's something that you are interested in doing, learning how to spin your own yarn, you can come to our Sweet Georgia studio and learn to spin hands-on with an instructor. And so we have those available in our on our website under the classes, so you can find those there. Also, if you are local in town, and you either have young kids or you know of other families who have young kids, what we're doing is for the very first time, we're going to try this. We're going to host a kids fiber arts summer camp. And so we're running two sessions of that, either July 3rd to 7th or July 24th to 28th. And those are going to run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And during that week long fiber arts camp, kids who are ages 6 and up or 7 and up will be able to learn how to knit, learn how to wet felt, learn how to do a bunch of different fiber arts and crafts, again, with Katrina from Crafty Jack. So we're really, really excited to give this a try. Our second week, July 24th to 28th, is already getting quite full. So it's really exciting to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing all these kids get together and the things that they make during that week. So that is a little bit about what's been happening at the studio. It's been a little bit busy, so thanks for being here. I see Gemma, Rachel, Jocelyn, Ksenia, Carolyn, Brenda, Bridget. Yay! It's nice to see everybody here. Checking in from Switzerland, fantastic, and Vancouver Island, Rhode Island from Spain. This is amazing, fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being here. So, what else has been going on that's been keeping us super busy? We are attending probably about a week from now. We're going to go to H&H Americas, and H&H Americas is an industry trade show for the crafts industry. It's not just yarn industry, it's not just sewing industry or anything like that. It's crafts industry. So, like anybody who's making quilting fabric will be there. People who are making yarn will be there. People who make hand-dyed yarn and commercial yarn, and people who write books about crafts, and people who do paper crafts, and people who sell sewing machines. Like everybody will be at this massive crafts industry trade show. And on one hand, it's super exciting. On one hand, it's also super scary. We haven't been to a trade show in a number of years. The last one we went to was H&H Cologne in Germany, and that was a couple of years ago now. And so this is the first time we're going to a US based trade show in many, many years now. So it's very, very exciting. We're doing a lot of prep work behind the scenes to get this booth ready. Feel a little bit out of practice because we haven't done it for a while. So we're like arranging the booth, making the banners, making the artwork, all of these kinds of things. And part of getting ready for that trade show is also making a ton of samples. So we have my desk is covered with samples that we are going to be shipping out today. Very excited, but I will show you some of the samples. Now, one of the samples that I have is this one that I'm wearing right now. This one, if you guys maybe recognize, this is the Halu sweater. I'll move my mic out of the way so you can see it better. Halu, and it's designed by Caitlin Hunter. You know, Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knitworks. I've made a bunch of things from her already. Her patterns are beautiful. I mean, they're super wearable. Every time I wear something that she's designed, I always feel really, really good about it. I feel it's comfortable, it's wearable, it's great. So this one happens to be knit with two different yarns. One of them is Cash Luxe Fine, which is our cashmere blend fingering weight yarn, mixed with merino silk lace, which is it's a merino and silk 50-50 blend lace weight yarn. And so the merino silk lace is in the vintage color. It's a new color from our Elixir collection. And then the color behind it, the main color is cassis in the Cash Luxe Fine. And so these two colors held together, I don't know if you can tell, it is marled. It's got a marled effect. It's really soft. It's really, really soft. I love it. I've worn it now for like a couple of days and I kind of don't want to take it off. But I do love this. You guys might know that I had started this same project. This is actually knit by uh, a sample knitter, knit for us, so that we can take it to the booth with us. But I started knitting this same sweater, and I have it here. I haven't frogged it yet, but I'm so close. So I started the same sweater, and mine is in Silk Mist and BFL and Silk Fine. So Blueface Leicester, which is like a woolly wool, toothy woolly wool, and it's got silk in it mixed with Silk Mist, which is a mohair and silk, like a fuzzy mohair and silk blend. And so you can see they're the same sweater, the one that I'm wearing and the one that I'm holding up. They're the same sweater, they're the same design, but they're completely different effects. Um, I'm still not sure if I want to rip this out or if I want to finish it because this already represents about 20 hours of work. And I don't want to just give that up. But at the same time, I'm not sure that you can see the pattern well enough. You can see it in the one that I'm wearing. The lace shows up really beautifully. You can see the baubles. The baubles were worked really, really well. Um, and yeah, I'm still on the fence. So, anyways, that is going back in the bag so I can think about it. So that's one of the samples that we've brought. I'm always interested to know if you have any sort of yarn stores locally around you that you would want to recommend us to. Like, you can always let me know if there's a local yarn shop that you would love to see Sweet Georgia in, and I can always reach out to them, or you can let them know about us. I'm always happy to do things like that, but also very, very excited to meet a lot of these shops in person when we go to Chicago for this trade show. I have a bunch of other samples on the desk here too, and these are all samples that I am really just, I love them. This one, Charlotte Knit, actually. Charlotte Knit, and it's gorgeous. It is just, it just keeps going. It's massive. It's huge, but it's beautiful. And this is something that is just, it's so simple and so lovely. Basically, what this is two party of five mini skein sets knit together with one full skein of bubble wand, which is like a splashy neutral kind of color that we have. And the pattern is called Lights at Night. And this was actually an Advent pattern um, that we did a while back, but it was an Advent pattern. And so when it was knit up in Advent colors, it looked totally different, but now it's knit up in all Elixir colors. So these are all the colorways of Elixir. So we have Stormy Night down here, this blue. This is Winter Haven. This is Boreal Forest here. The Honey Gold section. Amber Ale, this is my favorite color. I love that color. And then we have Sangria, which is this warm red. And then we have Cassis. This is that main pink color here. Black Raspberry and Twilight. So it's basically like all of the colors of the rainbow, feels like all of the colors of the rainbow, but they just are really, it feels really elegant. It feels like it all goes together. I'm in love with this particular pattern. Love this one. So this is all actually Tough Love sock. So it's 80/20 merino nylon. So really, really easy to knit, easy to wear, beautiful. So thanks to Charlotte for knitting that. It just looks amazing. Um, and then also, I recently redid the color play class for Sweet Georgia. And so some of these samples I talk about in that class as well. And they're just examples about how color really can just change everything. Color changes everything. So, like going back to talking about how we have these mini skein sets, these party of five mini skein sets, all they are is we take a full skein of yarn and we break it down into four mini skeins, and then the four mini skeins get repackaged into mini skein sets so that you can experience and play with a lot of different colors rather than buying a full skein of every color. So you just like get these mini skein sets and you just get to sample a little bit of every color. So one of these projects, this one is actually designed by Karina Ferguson. This was called Soft Twilight. And so we originally did this in a blue and green mini skein colorway set. And this is now in the set called Spilling Secrets. So again, these are colors from that Elixir collection. So you can see it starts with the Twilight Purple, goes into that Black Raspberry, goes into that Cassis color, Sangria, and Amber Ale. Yeah, I love that color. So that one is that soft Twilight shawl pattern. And so that's what it looks like with a Party 5 mini skein set. But then if you just choose a couple of other colors of this one, is the same pattern. It's the same shawl, but it's just been knit with different colors. These colors are actually from the Element color collection. So there's Seaside in here. There's, I think it's Coastline, and then Jam Tart. So those three colors make a completely different effect for a shawl. And so these are some of the patterns that we're bringing in that we're going to be showing and all sorts of things like that. So those things. I have been trying to make other samples as well. And so one of the things that I talked about when I got back from the Erlbacher Crank-In, I talked about going to that lecture with Pat, and Pat was using tubes and sewing them together to create garments. And so I came away from that live lecture feeling like I want to make a whole cocoon shrug with this technique and everything. And then I didn't want to like overwhelm myself completely. So I thought, okay, well, why don't we just start with two tubes and sew them together? And so that is what I have been doing. So I took one of these skeins, which is a cash silk lace. So that's cashmere and silk in a lace weight yarn. This color happens to be called Dark Orchid. So there it is. And then I held it together with our number one most popular colorway, which is Strawberry Tea. That's this color here. Without, can it focus? It won't focus. So this one is, there you go. Okay, so this one is Strawberry Tea in Silk Mist. So it's mohair and it is silk. And so this color mixed with this color. And I wanted to knit them together on the circular sock knitting machine and see what they created. And so they made the first tube, which is this color. So those two things mixed together made a giant long tube this color. And then I went back and I got one skein of cash silk lace in Arbutus, which is kind of like a brown and green kind of color, like an arbutus tree. And then I got one skein of silk mist in amber ale, which is like that golden amber sort of color. And I knit a second tube. And so I have put them together. I knit the two tubes, and just last night I hooked them together. I joined the two tubes on the side together, and I have blocked it. So it's beautiful. Like it's full of drape. It's bouncy. It's super, super soft. In order to do this sort of braided effect in between the two where I joined the two tubes together, I basically had to drop two stitches from, I just basically create a run through your entire tube of fabric, and then you kind of like hook them up. So hook a little bit from the brown side, hook a little bit from the pink side, and so just continuing on until you join the two tubes together. Then I wet finished the whole thing, hung it up to dry, and it's so soft and it's so light and fluffy, and but at the same time it like feels really substantial because it's double layered, right? Like both sides. You have two tubes here knit side by side. In any case, so originally what I thought was I would take the two ends, because right now there's just waste yarn on these two ends, that I would twist it and then make a Mobius and sort of graft them together at the end. And so in that case, I would have like a cowl, something like that. That's one way to join the two. Or I was also thinking, like, if this is big enough, almost long enough to make into a kind of like a stole, I could just finish the ends and put fringe on them, put beaded fringe on them, or I could also sort of sew them in a way where it becomes like a poncho. So I sew this end to the side of that, and then I could wear it like a poncho. The join is very, very durable. So Candace is asking, that's so cool. How durable will that join be? It's it's quite durable. I mean, like the mohair itself is strong. The mohair fiber adds a lot of strength to things. The silk adds a lot of strength to things. So I found that even when I was trying to make the run, like drop two stitches off of each thing of fabric and make a whole run, that it wouldn't run because the mohair would stick to itself. And I had to go in with this, like, basically a dental pick that you can buy from Addie for CSM knitting. So I go in with a dental pick and I'd have to like break the mohair in order to get the stitches to run down. And so I feel like once this has been wet finished, it's going to stay together pretty well. So that join is nice and secure. But yeah, there's a multiple ways to join these ends and finish these ends. And so I'm curious what you think I should do. If you think I should make that Mobius cowl, or if you think I should make a poncho, think I should just leave the ends open, maybe use like a shawl pin and just pin it like that. So a couple of different ways to do it. So that's what I'm working on right now. I love this. This basically took 2 nights to make, like one night for one tube, a second night for the second tube, and then I seamed them down also on the second night, washed it, and now third night I'm just going to finish the ends. So I would make another one and just experiment with all these different colors. So basically, to make one tube, it was one skein of cash silk and one skein of silk mist. So yeah, that's what I have been working on. I have some other samples here too I wanted to share with you because they were kind of showing the difference between, colors, choosing colors. Yeah, Danielle saying poncho or shawl would really show off the seam. Yes, it's true. If I did it in a cowl format, the seam would probably be hidden a lot of the time. So, yeah. So this is one of the shawl patterns that I believe was designed by Tabitha. Yes, it's called TUME, Tume, and it was designed by Tabitha. So this is beautiful, beautiful shawl. And this features some of the colors that are coming out later on this fall. So this is a sneak peek. This dark color. This dark color is called Forest Walk. And so that's coming out a little later this fall in a couple of months. And then this Boreal Forest. So looking at those two colors mixed together in a shawl project versus same project, different colors, completely different. So these colors are from the Element colorway. So they're vibrant, they're bright, they're clear. And so this is like, I think it's really, really interesting just to see again how one pattern, it's the same pattern, but just the colors that you pick will make all of the difference. Like changes the mood, changes everything. So this is part of the thing that I was trying to get organized is for us to update our color play class, which came out in 2017 now. That's almost 6 years ago. So yeah, actually it is 6 years ago. And so that class, we needed to refresh it and revitalize it and all these kinds of things. And the color play class is basically a class where I show you how color theory works and then how you can create your own color combinations, how to choose color combinations. So I have done things like I updated the workbook that comes with that course. And so in here, like I show all of the different color combinations and things like that. We just finished filming this yesterday, which is why it's still on my desk. and then all of the colors and how they work in the color wheel. So we've done a bunch of things about this whole color play concept that are going to be coming out soon. But one of the things that I made for it, which I think is a little bit cool, and when I mentioned the idea originally, people were like, "Oh, I don't know if that would be helpful or not." But I think I've shown you guys before. I have color chips that our team makes, so that way we can, try to make color combinations and all things like that. And it is always on a cardboard. It's like a business card size, but it's a hard cardboard, and then we wrap yarn all over it. And I have a big case of these, and it's a lot to store. It's all of these things. It's unwieldy. It's expensive to make, all of these kinds of things. And so I came up with this idea of making a deck of cards for all of the colors. So this is my deck of cards that I made. And I managed to get sort of like one-off prototype made of this deck of cards. And on the inside of the deck of cards is all of the colors that we make. So you can see in here, no, you can see those are all the different colors that we make. And in fact, these colors are actually very true to the actual color. So we took all of these little color cards and we held them next to our actual dyed fiber, and we were checking, is this actually the right color? Is this actually the thing? And so the idea behind this deck of cards is that you can use it and basically lay them out, create your own color combinations in this way without necessarily having to, invest in a skein of yarn and then wondering, what else am I going to mix with it? Is this going to be the right combination? Like, working with something like this deck of cards can help you make those decisions before you go in to your project. So it's just kind of like a project planning tool. And I don't know if anybody would be interested in something like a deck of cards for colors. If anybody is interested, we might do a run of them, but it's just like, not sure if you want to go down this path. But yeah, if enough people are saying that, oh yeah, I would totally love to do that, then we'll give this a try. I think it's a really neat idea. I think it's like really convenient. All of the colors fit in the palm of your hand, and then you can just make all your color decisions like this. So I am excited about this deck of cards. Really, really fun. So yes. What else? So in addition to like preparing for H&H, I'm also going to be on a panel discussion at H&H talking about how companies like ours, or where we are teaching people about crafts and different kinds of crafts, how we can work together with other local yarn stores to help teach, I think, a lot of their customers as well, their community, how to bring people together, how to learn from each other, how to grow community, all of these kinds of things. So really, really excited about all of that. That's all happening before the end of June. So that's why I wanted to share with you guys the samples that are on my desk, because they're all going to be packed in a box today. They're going to be shipped away, and then we won't see them until probably July. Yes. Yes, so MCO Nuts is saying, I like the idea of a deck of cards with your actual colors. Tried a variation of this with paint chips, but was unsuccessful, as, of course, paint chips are not the same as most yarn colors. So it's true, like you can find maybe the exact color combination that you want in those paint chips, but then when you go to the store, it's going to be very difficult to always get whichever color you need to match that color chip. Saturation is different, value might be a little bit different, especially saturation, I think, changes everything. So yes, yes, very, very excited about all of that. Now, what else do I have going on? So with the SOS, with the School of SweetGeorgia, we are revitalizing that color play class, and that's going to be available soonish, I think later on this summer. And we're going to make that available for everybody. So whether you're a member or not a member, you'll be able to access that color play class to learn about color theory. I think it is just so important to know about color and feel more confident about color, so that way you can go and make your own combinations and choose your own colors for projects. So that is one thing. Yesterday, I also filmed a brand new orientation class for the school because that has been, it's been also a couple of years since I did the last orientation class. And so we have so many new things going on inside the school. I wanted a way to properly capture all of it so that I could share that with everybody. And so, together with that orientation class for the school, we're creating a membership handbook, like a member handbook, so that everybody knows what's going on. Because one of the newest, can you hear that airplane? One of the newest things that we started doing is these virtual co-working sessions where basically, and we're going to do one this afternoon. So basically, we meet on Zoom for 5 minutes. We might share a little bit about like what our goals are for the session. Very, very quick chat. And then for 50 minutes, everybody goes on mute. And then we just work. And it's very quiet. Maybe you're playing music at your end, but nobody else is hearing it. It's very quiet, very concentrated work. And the feedback has been so positive. The feedback has been that people are getting things done. People feel at peace. People feel comforted because there's someone else on the other side working at the same time. And sometimes it really helps to get those things, those kind of grindy tasks that you don't necessarily want. Like for some people, if you don't like threading heddles, and then that's a bit of an obstacle, or you don't like casting on 400 stitches, that's an obstacle. Those kinds of things you can bring to this kind of session, and it helps to have other people there and you get it done. So that is something that we've added to the school as well. So always trying to add value to all of the members there and the community there that's been growing. So really excited about all of that. Fantastic. Now, I do have some new products that I need to share with you guys as well. So, um, I wanted to mention we are going to discontinue a couple of things. Like we have some fiber that's going to be discontinued, some yarn bases that are going to be discontinued, and some colors of the Party of Five sets are also going to be discontinued soon. So they're going to go until the end of June, and then they're going to be gone because we have so many other things that we're planning and creating and all sorts of things like that. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is Stitch Diaries 4. Stitch Diaries 4. So Stitch Diaries, if you did not know, we used to run a sock yarn club and a fiber club. So every single month we would create brand new colorway with a story, with teaching content, all of these kinds of things. We did that for 9 years. We loved doing it, but it was extremely intense because we were doing it every single month. And so then we stopped doing it for a number of years in order to focus on building the school and, building a lot of learning content into the school. But we really actually missed making those sort of those stories, telling the stories of dyers, telling the stories that can be expressed through color. And so that's where the Stitch Diaries idea came from, is to be able to share the stories of the people who work here, people creating the colors, things like that. And it's paired together with designs and teaching from Tabitha, our design director. So I'm going to show you the newest box. This is Stitch Diaries number 4. And in the box here, we have first the little booklet that comes with. Okay, Stitch Diaries 4. Each of these Stitch Diaries is only available for a limited time. And the colors are all designed by various members of our team. And so this one happens to be designed by Teresa. And so Teresa is basically like the longest employee here at SweetGeorgia. She's been with us for the longest time, probably since actually before I was married, which was like 13 years ago. So she's been with us since like the beginning. And so this is the colorway that she designed. It's called Reflections. And she wanted to do it on her favorite yarn, which is merino silk lace. Now, I know that lace weight very often kind of uh, stresses people out or makes people nervous or anxious because it's so fine, because you need to work lace and it feels like, oh, it's so much work. But the beauty of this lace yarn is that you hold it together, you hold it double, and it makes a amazingly soft, gorgeous cloth that is easy to wear, easy to work with. It's beautiful. And so that is the premise of Teresa's box. So you can hopefully see these colors are like super delicate, very nuanced. It's like a very nice and summery kind of yarn. Summery colors. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's called Reflections. So merino silk lace. There's a ton of yardage on each of these skeins. It's like 765 yards on one skein. And so the way that we've done it is Tabitha has worked it together with a bunch of lace samples. So the premise of what Tabitha is trying to explain is that lace does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be fussy, does not have to be scary. And so she has created a whole series of stitch patterns that are just 8 stitches, 8 stitch repeats. Very, very simple, 8 stitch repeats. And then you can use any one of these patterns in a t-shirt design that she also created. So I'm going to first show you some of the swatches of her 8 stitch lace. This is an 8 stitch repeat. It looks really complicated, but in fact, it's only 8 stitches to remember. You look at the chart, not very many rows. A lot of this is repeated. So it's really nice and easy. And it's not super, super fine because the yarn has been held double. Okay, so that is just one. This is sample B. So again, you can see the fabric is light. It's got drape to it. It's really, 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 it looks like, this one looks like cat's paws, you know? Tracks of cat's paws. This is probably one of my favorite. This is a really classic, classic lace pattern. You see this in a lot of shawls, see this in a lot of projects. I like this one. So that one is again, just 8 stitch repeat. Works up really beautifully. This one has more of like a purl side feature. So like the ground of the cloth is purl stitches. It's the back side of the stockinette. Or you could use it this way and then you get more of the knit. So it almost looks like ribbing, like so, a little bit. So these patterns are all, you could use them in all sorts of different ways. This one is also really, really pretty too. And this one has kind of got a bit of a wave to it. So that's what that one looks like. And again, because you're holding the lace weight double, it creates basically a fingering weight kind of yarn. And at the same time, the benefit of that is always like the colors mix beautifully. There's more color mixing and blending. And so you get a smoother effect. And so that is what this tee is all about. So this is the garment. This is the garment design that comes with the kit. Okay, so with those 2 skeins of merino silk lace, you could knit this entire summer tee. And the lace up here is your choice. So you can knit it all the way, you know, the rest of it is stockinette, very, very simple, holding 2 skeins together. And then the top, you can choose, pick and choose what lace stitch pattern you like the best. So if you like this one the best, you can pop that in there. So these are kind of like, it's a recipe, kind of mix and match, choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure. And yeah, I think Gemma, you're saying Reflections is beautiful, but I'm a weaver instead of a knitter. You could absolutely use merino silk lace for warp. I've done that for warp. I've used it for weft. It works beautifully as weft. Mixing the two, like use one skein as warp, one skein as weft, it's going to be fantastic. So that is something that would be really, really fun to do. Yeah, Bridget's saying, I love the feeling of that tee. It is so soft. It's so soft. It feels great. And yeah, I hope you guys can see like the color mixing and blending is beautiful. It's just really cool. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, oh, I forgot to show you the last thing that's in the box. So inside the box, there's 2 skeins of this Reflections colorway. There is the pattern. The pattern for the tee is called Dame's Violet, designed by Tabitha. And then, oh, did I lose it? No, it's in here. There is an exclusive stitch marker that is in here that is designed by this shop called Ocean Loops. Ocean Loops, and they are all made by Lolly. And she made this exclusive stitch marker for us that I think I was looking at earlier this morning and I disassembled. But that is the stitch marker that is from her studio. It's so beautiful and it's so lovely and it just works really well with the colors. So I feel like you could really enjoy this kind of summer project where you're working with this color yarn and this stitch marker. Yeah, that would be really, really lovely. So that is that. Stitch marker, 2 skeins of yarn, pattern, swatches, samples. And if you need more than 2 skeins, you can also order additional skeins and we can make that available for you as well. So I think we have a link to that as well, to the Stitch Diaries 4, but that is what that is all about. Yeah, the Ocean Loop Studio. So, so beautiful. Like very dreamy. Everything is very dreamy feeling. Now, what else do we have? We also have, oh, I don't have them all here on my desk. I only have the one. We have coming out today is the new fiber colors, new spinning fiber colors. So we created a whole bunch of new spinning fiber colors. I think we made 6. I think we made 6 new spinning fiber colors. And they were supposed to come out this fall. And then I started spinning them. I'm like, no, let's do them now because I want to talk about them and spin with them and everything. So this is just one of them. I have other ones in the other room that I forgot to bring over, but this one is called Salted Caramel. This is one of, and I just happen to have this one on BFL and silk, and I was spinning it up. I've already spun it up last night, and it's made for some beautiful. I spun this up as a 3-ply fractal yarn. So basically, what that means is I took the fiber here and I divided it vertically, like I split the fiber at the top into thirds. And then with each third, I took 1/3 and I spun it straight to a bobbin. But before that, I listened to Kim McKenna's advice when I learned that when we were filming from the School of SweetGeorgia. I took the entire third and I attenuated it. So just attenuating it and adding the air back into the fiber and making it really light and fluffy and easy to draft from. So that 1/3 went to one bobbin. And then the second third I split in half. And then each of those halves I attenuated it and lightly fluffed it and all this kind of stuff. And so those 2 pieces I spun together onto a second bobbin. And the third one, I took the third and then split that into thirds and then attenuated that and then at the end of the day, plied all 3 of the bobbins together to make the 3-ply yarn. And so the benefit of doing it that way is that you end up with a very nicely blended color that doesn't have jarring stripes of color. Because like when you look at the fiber, there's going to be like a chunk of gold and a chunk of pink and a chunk of brown, and all of these things are gorgeous and wonderful. And if you want to preserve all those colors, there are other ways of spinning your yarn in order to preserve all those colors. But I wanted to create this sort of very moody, mixed and blended effect. And so doing it as a 3-ply fractal really helps mute down a ton of those colors. And so this yarn was originally intended to go into my CSM and I was going to make socks out of it, but it's so pretty. I thought, well, why don't I knit something like a shawl, or maybe it goes into something. I haven't thought about it yet. I just washed it last night. But this is the BFL silk yarn that was spun from that fiber. And so in any case, all of the colors should be available today on our website. And part of it's because I want to spin some of this for Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece is coming up in July. Basically runs from July 1st until the 23rd, I believe. So basically every day that the Tour de France is going, you would spin as well. So that's Tour de Fleece. It's been going for many, many years now. And we've never had an official team because I don't like the pressure that comes with having to spin massive volumes or spin massively fast. I have heard of other teams or Spinzilla teams in the past where people have taken it as a marathon event where they just sit and spin. They don't get up to eat. People bring them food. People bring them drink. They just spend the whole time spinning. And I kind of don't like the pressure that comes from that because it is impractical for me in my life and all these kinds of things. But it also, it's just way too much pressure. And I think that we spin, or I spin, because it's fun and it's relaxing and it's enjoyable. And I want to do it, and I want to do it. And so I've always taken Tour de Fleece as more of a habit building event where it's an encouragement to try to spend 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, spinning just a little bit. Because if you practice just a little bit every day, your fingers, the sensation in your fingers feel better. Like it just you develop more feeling, more skill just by practicing a little bit every day. So ways of making it accessible are like maybe you put a spindle and some fiber in a bowl on your dining table, and then every morning with your morning coffee, you spin a little bit. Or, Tour de Fleece, maybe you haven't tried Turkish spindles before. Maybe try that every day for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, or supported spindles, just something a little bit every day. I think it's a good way to build a habit and a practice. So, in any case, we always subscribe unofficially to Tour de Fleece, and we already started a conversation about that in the Discord channel and on SOS and all of these kinds of things. And so, if you want to join us for conversation about Tour de Fleece as we do it, you can join the Discord channel full of wonderful people sharing wonderful things. I love it. It's really a nice place to check in every day. Um, I'm just seeing here Star saying, "Oh, it was never meant to be like that." I know it's meant to like be about kind of like enjoying spinning and sharing a love of spinning, and I just want everybody to love spinning. I feel like spinning is such a turning point. If you're a knitter and then you learn how to spin, it changes the world for you. It changes everything. It changes your perspective on how yarn is made and what you could do with it. And so I feel like spinning is so important. I want to spread that joy with other people and spread that feeling with everybody, but I want everybody to also like it still at the end of the day and not like injure themselves or stress themselves out. Um, yeah. So Danielle saying agreed. So much better to have it just as a goal oriented event. So goal, maybe your goal is just to like try long draw for the first time, practice long draw for 30 days or 23 days or however many days. Yes. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Bridget, for posting the invite to the Discord channel in the chat as well. So thank you. And Jetten is asking me, what wheel do I spin on the most? So right now, the wheel I spin on the most is a Lendrum Saxony. It's a cherry Lendrum Saxony that I bought used from somebody. My flyer is on the right hand side. I spin with my fiber held in the left hand, and I draft forward with my right hand. And so that sort of orientation has worked really, really well for me. I love that wheel. Yeah, Judy's saying, I'm a weaver, but I'm just now starting how to learn how to spin. Yeah, using your hand spun in your weaving. So many things to do. But yeah, I love, love, love spinning on that Saxony wheel. The one thing I'm kind of struggling with right now is that my bobbins rattle. And so I have to make some weird adjustments in order to have the bobbin not make any noise. But I love that wheel. And then I've been plying on that wheel too. I have e-spinners. I'm going to start using my e-spinners a little bit more, I think. But right now, yeah, I'm very much enjoying that nice looking Saxony wheel. So yeah, you can kind of join us in there in the Tour de Fleece chat. If you're interested in the fiber colors, I think we are going to post that on the website. Oh yeah, Bridget already posted it. Thank you. She posted in the chat. So you can find all of the new fiber colors in there as well. We have a whole bunch of different kinds of fiber. Greta is spinning Targi right now. I really like spinning the BFL silk. It all depends on what you want to make at the end of the day. So there's all of that. And then finally, the last announcement that I want to make is that the Sweet Georgia Mystery Knit Along is coming soon. So we actually are going to release all of the pattern details and information about the sets and everything on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, June the 13th. And we've been doing this Sweet Georgia Mystery Knit Along for years now. I don't know how many years. Maybe this is the 7th year, I think we're doing it. So usually in August, we do this mystery knit along where you don't know what the pattern is going to look like. You don't know what the project is going to look like at the end of the day, but you work week by week, getting a clue pattern instructions, getting week by week instructions, and then you work that section. And at the end of the day, you have this thing that is amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And over the years, it's just been really, really amazing to see how fun it is to work through the pattern, not knowing where you're going to end up, but really trusting the process, really trusting and just kind of letting go of a lot of yeah, just really letting go and letting yourself just enjoy the process of knitting and being led. And so this is going to be really, really fun. We have put on our show notes page a little bit more detail about it. But basically, what we're going to do today is we are going to do a giveaway. So we're going to give away one mystery knit along yarn set, which is actually going to be 3 skeins of yarn, and you'll get the pattern. And so that giveaway, the contest is going to close on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will contact you on that Tuesday, and then you can let us know which choice of yarn set you want, because we haven't posted the yarn sets yet. That's coming out on Tuesday. So it's a bit of a hush hush secret. So what you can do now is you can just go to that giveaway entry page, this Taking Back Friday Live June show notes page, enter your information in there to participate in the giveaway. And then between now and Tuesday, we'll run this giveaway. And then Tuesday morning, Bridget will close it down. She will pick a winner, and then she will reach out to you, and then you can decide which yarn set you want for the mystery knit along. And then at the same time on Tuesday, June 13th, all of the rest of the details are going to come out for the MCAL. But I can hopefully tell you soon, or I can tell you right now, actually, that there's going to be 3 clues. So there's going to be a Zoom meeting where we're going to do like a cast on party for clue number 1. And then I think we're going to meet again in the middle, and then we're going to meet again at the end. But there's going to be clue 1, August 15th is going to happen. Clue 2 is going to come out August 22nd. Clue 3 is going to come out August 29th. And then the actual full pattern will come out after that as well. So really, really excited about that. We do all of the conversation about the mystery knit along also in the Discord channel. So if you join the Discord server, then you can find the channel where we're talking about the mystery knit along. You can join there, share your progress while we go through it, share, which yarn set, which colors you chose. All of those kinds of things are going to happen in the conversation on Discord as well. So that is all happening. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. I'm always really excited to see what happens at Mystery Knit Along Time. And also excited that we can do this all on Discord this year as well. So if you're interested in participating, if you want to join the giveaway, just go to that page, and Bridget is handling all of the things. Thank you. Yes, fantastic. So the very last thing is that you guys can maybe help me out here. So I am knitting away extremely slowly, very, very slowly. I'm knitting this one right now. This is the Easy V. Again, this is a pattern that is designed by Caitlin Hunter. I am very, very excited about this one. It looks really cozy. It looks really comfortable. I do like, I think that sweater, the Easy V, has the same kind of neckline as this one from her Halu pattern. Really, really like it. And so I have finished all of the ribbing part, and I'm using Mohair Silk DK, and this colorway is called Black Raspberry. So this one is, yeah, that's just it looks small. No, I think it should stretch. Yeah, so that is the top. And then I had to pick which colors to use for the color work. And so I have been wondering what colors to use. I think one of the colors I'm going to use is one of these darker colors. This one happens to be called Night Call. This is going to come out later on this fall as well. But I also probably want to use amber ale. I want to use my favorite colors. I want to do some things. And so I am sort of going through the process right now of trying to figure out what color combination to make this. I could possibly use, most likely, my deck of cards here to pick a color. And I think that also Caitlin has tried to make it easier. I think that this is the challenge with figuring out colors for projects and things like that is figuring out how to visualize how it's going to look. And so this is actually something that I think is a great idea. I feel like so many people should provide this, but this is a great idea. So she has a schematic, hand-drawn illustration of what the sweater should look like at the end of the day. And then she just, it's very, very simple, right? She just has what colors are you going to choose for your main color, your CC1, CC2, CC3, and then you can just color the sweater. This is a really great way, inexpensive way to experiment with color composition, trying to figure out, well, even if I pick three contrasting colors that I like for this particular color, what order am I going to knit them in? Because what order you knit them in is going to make a big difference to how it looks at the end of the day. So even if you've picked your colors, you can still use a chart like this to figure out, well, where am I going to put those colors? So yeah, that is coming out. Yeah. So I need to figure out what colors to put in there. Might use this, do a little bit of coloring. Um, that is the biggest challenge. I wonder what for you is the biggest challenge when it comes to something like this. It's just trying to figure out which colors to put in here, what order to put the colors. This one, yeah, I mean, you could make a hand spun and put that in there. Yeah, I think that that's why I'm sort of paused right here at this because I'm trying to figure out what's next. Yes. So I'm just checking up on your chat messages here, and it says, "Yeah, love that colored night call. Cannot wait to see the fall colors. They're going to be amazing. I'm so looking forward to all the fall colors too. They're the dark counterparts to all of the elixir colors that we do. So we do those 10 elixir colors. We've done the 10 lighter versions of them, and now we're going to do the 10 darker versions of those, and they will come out probably in about August, I think is what's happening. Senya is asking to talk about the newest SOS spinning course, Spinning Textured Yarns. Yeah, that is going to be super fun. So, Debbie Held has taught a number of spinning classes with us. She taught spinning on e-spinners, she taught spinning with supported spindles, and she taught this class on spinning textured yarns. And for that class, she uses actually her dataless e-spinner quite a bit, but it is like very much. I think it's a good thing for everybody to try spinning textured yarns. And that is like sometimes lumpy, bumpy yarns, like thick and thin yarns, plying in different ways to create all sorts of different textures and coils and beehives and all sorts of things like that. Even even though I feel like when I started to spin, and I think for many people, when you're spinning, your first goal is to try to get really consistent and try to get really fine yarn to spin really thin. And it's just like, oh, I want to spin thinner. I want to spin thinner. I want to spin finer yarn, spin finer yarn. And it went through a phase of trying to spin lace weight yarn for everything, spinning lace weight for shawls, and then got to the point where you're spinning so fine, it takes months and months to finish spinning anything. And then you just feel like you never get anywhere. And you sometimes lose the feeling of being able to spin thicker yarns or different kinds of yarns. So I feel like spinning textured yarns and specifically learning how to spin textured yarns is an amazing way of being able to train your hands for variety. It's to give your hands the skills to be able to do more than one thing so that you can feel, oh, I need to pull out this, I need to draft forward this much fiber in this way in order to create something different. And it gives your hands more skill. I feel like it just gives your hands more skill. So I recommend it to everybody. And I think that what Debbie talks about, she wrote an article for the SOS too, which is about using a lot of your hand spun yarns in a rigid head loom in a very simple kind of weave so that you can just play. A lot of exploration, a lot of playing. Not everything has to be fine and thin and consistent and perfect. You can get so much joy out of just manipulating the fiber in your fingers as you create these kinds of yarns. So the course is going to come out very, very soon. I'm very, very excited for all of that to come out. We also have other courses coming out too. We have a lace class, a weaving lace class that's coming out, and it's being taught by Laura Fry. I actually have the actual samples that have come off of the loom. So I'll just show you very briefly because I still need to iron these and photograph them. But you can see there is some lace. She's taught lace, making a little frame of lace. This is woven on our baby wolf loom. This is actually just 4 shafts, I believe. Yeah, it's just should be just 4 shafts. So you don't need a lot of loom for this, and it worked beautifully. We're weaving with beam, just beam here for this one, and I'm going to photograph this today. Gretchen is asking, do you have a suggestion for a basic beginning weaving loom? And yeah, she's saying, oh, Gemma's saying Ashfords and Luettes have good rigid heddle looms. So I think it ultimately depends on what you think that you might want to weave. I know that when I first started learning how to weave, I learned on a Leclerc Dorothy 4-shaft table loom. And so that was provided to me because I went to a sort of like a fiber arts school where I had access to all these looms. And I feel like because I had access to a 4-shaft loom from the very beginning, I always try to recommend 4-shaft looms to everyone, even if you're starting weaving. I know that you can start with a rigid heddle loom and you can do a lot of things with a rigid heddle loom. Rigid heddle looms are super accessible, very easy to warp, very easy to get started. If you've never touched weaving or a shuttle or anything like that before, starting with a rigid heddle loom is a great way to get your hands on it faster. But I feel like if you're going to go into things like learning how to, weave lace or learning how to weave waffle weave or twill or all sorts of things like that, I feel like 4-shaft weaving is a very straightforward way of understanding how cloth is made. And I feel like it sets a really good foundation for moving forward into 4 shafts, into 8 shafts, into whatever you want to do. But 4-shaft is a really, really solid foundation of understanding of weaving. So if you can get your hands on something like a 4-shaft table loom, I think it's a great way to start with weaving. Like Judy's saying, it depends on your budget. Rigid heddle looms are much less expensive than floor looms. Starting with a floor loom can be tricky because if you don't know if you're going to like weaving or not, how are you going to know that you want to dedicate, a certain footprint of your house or your space to something like a floor loom? That is a big commitment if you don't know if you like weaving yet. So it's kind of like if you can have access to a rigid heddle loom, try it, see if you like the feeling of throwing the shuttle, see if you like the feeling of creating cloth. And then if that feels good to you, then I would look into table looms, floor looms, all sorts of things like that. Yeah, absolutely. So she said I started with a 24-inch rigid heddle loom from Ashford and then moved up to a baby wolf from Schacht, which is 8-shaft. Yes, absolutely. And then wondering about size. You don't want it to be too big, don't want to be too limited. So I sometimes weave samples on our table loom. It's an Ashford 8-shaft table loom that is a 16-inch weaving width. So it's not very big. It comes with its stand, or you can get a stand to go with it. I feel like it's a very convenient thing to work with, and it's not too big either. 16-inch, 15-inch weaving width is good for sampling, for trying, for learning, for testing, that kind of thing. At the same time, we have taught a double weave class where you could take your 15-inch weaving width and make something that's 30 inches. So maybe you can make a stole, a double width stole. So there's a lot of things that you can try. Depends on what you want to make at the end of the day. Yeah, so 24 inches is a good size. You can do a lot of different items. Yeah, and that's why I feel like, the wolf pup, I believe, is a smaller weaving width than the baby wolf. Baby wolf is a 26-inch wide weaving width. That's also very easy and accessible. Yeah, all of these things are fantastic. Yeah, if you guys want to have more conversation about weaving looms, about what you recommend, about questions if you have about weaving looms, then I do encourage you guys to join the Discord because you can ask us these questions. You can ask the community these questions. Lots of people have lots of advice and guidance and all these kinds of things. And so it's a great place for us to continue to have a conversation after these live streams, after any of the videos, anything that you see here. Yeah, if you join the Discord, then we can talk more about all of these things at greater length, especially the weaving stuff. I talk about CSM knitting, talk about machine knitting. People are talking about punch needle. People talk about spinning. A lot of conversation about spinning. There's going to be a lot of conversation about knitting and all of these kinds of things happening. So that is basically it for today. I'm so happy to have you guys all on here to see all your chat. This is wonderful. I'm also very excited to go on this trade show in a couple of weeks. We're going to be traveling. Teresa's going to be going. Anita's going to be going, and Tabitha's going to be going. We're all going to meet up in Chicago. Yeah, it's gonna be so exciting. So, with that, I guess I will see you guys next month in July. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna do this again. We have a lot of big upcoming shifts and changes at the studio and at the school and all sorts of things like that. And so I hope that you guys will subscribe to the channel here and then hear about any notifications, updates that we have. If you join the email list, we'll also be able to let you know about things that are happening and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to hear from us and what we're doing, join the Discord channel, join the email. And I hope that I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, have a wonderful month. I will see you next time. All right, bye for now.